When a room fills with noise, when voices overlap, blame spreads, panic rises, and everyone rushes to be heard, there is always one person who chooses silence. They don't interrupt, they don't raise their voice, they don't rush to calm anyone down, and somehow they become the most misunderstood person in the room. Some think their silence means indifference, others mistake it for weakness. Some grow suspicious and wonder, what are they hiding? But what if we've been wrong all along? What if, when everyone else is panicking, the silent person is actually working the hardest inside their own mind? In the modern world, silence is often seen as defeat. In meetings, the fastest speaker is labeled intelligent. On social media, the loudest voice is praised as caring. During crises, the most emotional reaction is mistaken for humanity. Meanwhile, silence feels foreign, uncomfortable, even threatening. But long before our world became noisy, there was an ancient philosophy that treated silence not as weakness, but as one of the highest forms of strength: Stoicism. Stoicism was not born in comfortable classrooms. It emerged on battlefields, in exile, in prisons, inside palaces thick with betrayal. Marcus Aurelius wrote his thoughts not for the public, but for himself, while governing an empire on the brink of chaos. Epictetus was born a slave, his body controlled by others, yet his mind remained untouchable. And Seneca, an advisor to emperors, lived every day under the shadow of execution. They lived in a world that constantly panicked, yet they shared one quiet discipline. They did not respond with noise. They responded with awareness. When a Stoic is silent, it is not because they feel nothing. It is because they feel everything, without allowing emotion to seize control. While others react, they observe. While others accuse, they separate facts from fear. While others rush to act, they ask a simple but radical question: what is actually happening, and what is truly within my control? Psychologists today call this the cognitive pause, the space between stimulus and response. But Stoicism understood this pause thousands of years ago. For a Stoic, silence is not emptiness. It is an inner workspace, a place where emotions are acknowledged but not obeyed, where assumptions are questioned, where ego is gently asked to step aside. And this inner work is almost always invisible from the outside. Imagine a familiar scene. A conflict erupts, voices sharpen, faces tighten, words begin to lose meaning. In the middle of it all, one person says nothing. From the outside, they appear passive, but inside their mind, something intense is unfolding. They notice their heart rate rising. They feel the urge to defend themselves. They sense anger, but they do not follow it. They ask themselves, is this a real threat or just my perception? Then another question follows. If I speak now, do I want understanding or do I just want to win? Often, the answer explains their silence. Here is the surprising part. Neuroscience shows that people who can delay emotional reactions activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational decision-making. Panic, on the other hand, is driven by the amygdala, the brain's fear center. In other words, silence is not the absence of response. It is the most expensive response. It costs discipline. It costs restraint. It costs inner strength. But the world rarely rewards what it cannot see. Calm people are called detached. Non-reactive people are seen as uninvolved. Quiet minds are mistaken for empty ones. Yet many Stoic individuals remain silent because they refuse to make chaos worse. They understand something painful but true. Not every thought deserves a voice, not every emotion requires expression, and not every battle deserves a victory. Epictetus once wrote something rarely quoted: "When someone is silent, it does not mean they are empty. It may mean they are organizing their inner kingdom. That kingdom is the mind." But silence comes at a cost. Many Stoic individuals grow up misunderstood. They are called cold, unreadable, emotionally distant. Some lose relationships because others mistake composure for absence. And here lies the human tension of Stoicism. Stoicism is not about killing emotion. It is about delaying reaction, so emotion does not become the master. But not everyone knows how to see the difference. There are moments when silence is misinterpreted. A child who stays quiet when scolded is seen as disrespectful. A partner who steps back to calm down is labeled uncaring. A colleague who avoids drama is seen as disloyal. And the Stoic often stands quietly in the middle of it all. So what are Stoic minds really thinking when everyone else panics? Not heroic speeches, not clever comebacks. They think about clarity, about consequences, about what can be saved and what must be released. They understand something most people learn too late. Calm is not always admired, but it is almost always necessary. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "Do not let the chaos of others disturb your inner peace." Not because others do not matter, but because your mind is the only place you are fully responsible for. Perhaps that's why Stoic individuals often appear strongest during moments of crisis, not because they are fearless, but because they have already made peace with the worst possible outcomes. And someone who has made peace with the worst does not panic when uncertainty arrives. If you've ever been the quiet one in a room full of chaos, if you have felt misunderstood for choosing silence, remember this: silence is not surrender. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is not apathy. Sometimes, silence is the only way to remain human in a world that has lost its balance. Perhaps next time you notice someone staying quiet while everyone else is spiraling, you won't ask, "Why aren't they reacting?" Instead, you might wonder softly, what are they protecting inside themselves? And maybe that's the kind of wisdom we celebrate the least. Because silence is not the end of sound. It is often the beginning of awareness. And sometimes, awareness is everything.